Lucy Letby, an NHS nurse, was convicted guilty of killing defenseless infants while under her care. The 33-year-old was accused of abusing the newborns when she was employed at the Countess of Chester Hospital's neonatal section. The Manchester Crown Court jury deliberated over the numerous accusations brought against the nurse for 22 days and for 96 hours. She was found guilty on Friday, August 18th, on 7 charges of murder and 6 counts of attempted murder. Letby was also found not guilty on 2 further counts of attempted murder, despite his denial of all charges. Hereford's Angel of Death intentionally injured the babies in a number of ways, including by giving them intravenous air injections and nasogastric tubes filled with air or milk. The prosecution also disclosed that she tampered with breathing tubes, administered poisonous insulin to intravenous feeds, and inflicted harm in certain instances. 4 children were killed by 49-year-old nurse Beverly Allett in 1991 when she was employed at the Grantham and Kesteven Hospital in Lincolnshire. Without any apparent reason, the Angel of Death administered high insulin dosages to the infants for 59 days. Allett's first victim, 8-week-old Liam Taylor, was the catalyst for her horrifying 2-month killing spree in the hospital's now famous Ward 4. On February 23, 1991, the baby was given an insulin injection by the former pediatric nurse, who went on to kill 3 more people and damage 9 more. Authorities at the hospital were perplexed by the abrupt increase in newborn mortality, which prompted to an immediate investigation into their deaths. Several people suffered permanent injuries as a result of Allett's harmful injections. In 1993, Nottingham Crown Court heard her trial. She made a not guilty plea. The jury was informed by the doctors who had evaluated her that she was exhibiting symptoms of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a mental condition in which individuals have an intense need for attention. Allett was convicted and given an indefinite detention term at Rampton High Security Psychiatric Hospital. When her minimum sentence of 30 years in jail expired in November 2021, she was eligible for release on parole. Known as the most evil woman in Britain, Myra Hindley was one of the most well-known serial killers in British history. Between July 1963 and October 1965, Hindley and her evil accomplice Ian Brady killed 5 schoolchildren and buried them on Saddleworth Moors. After viciously killing 10-year-old Leslie Ann Downey, 12-year-old John Kilbride, and 17-year-old Edward Evans, the wicked pair was put in jail. They also admitted to the murders of Pauline Reed, 16, and Keith Bennett, 12, while they were incarcerated years later. The children were enticed to their deaths by Hindley and Brady, 2 men in their 20s who buried them in the South Pennines. They abused at least 4 of their victims sexually. Before passing away on November 15, 2002, Hindley was incarcerated for 36 years in Holloway Women's Prison. The 60-year-old child killer had a history of lung and heart ailments before passing away from respiratory failure. Brady's eerie crimes, which took place between 1963 and 1965, earned him a life sentence. Until his agonizing death in 2017 at Ashworth Hospital, he had never experienced freedom. A judge rejected his ill-fated petition to be dispersed on Saddleworth Moor. During the 1980s, Robert Black, a notorious serial child killer, abducted young victims in the back of his delivery truck and proceeded to abuse, murder, and gag them around the nation. In 1994, the pedophile was convicted of the deaths of 3 children: Sarah Harper, age 10, of Leeds, 11-year-old Susan Maxwell of Northumberland, and 5-year-old Caroline Hogg of Edinburgh. Black was charged in 2012 with a 4th murder, that of 9-year-old Jennifer Cardy, who was abducted in 1981 while riding her bicycle to a friend's house in Northern Ireland. Several more killings and disappearances were also linked to him. Black's reign of terror ended by sheer coincidence in 1990 when he was apprehended in the Scottish village of Stow with a 6-year-old girl packed in a sleeping bag, shackled and hooded in his vehicle. She had been sexually attacked by Black just moments before. The victim's father, a police officer, noticed a connection between the man being held and Caroline Hogg, another unsolved case. He saw that Black looked like the culprit in her murder sketched by an artist. On January 12, 2016, the 68-year-old murderer passed away in Magaberry Prison in Northern Ireland while he was serving 12 life sentences. Days remained before he was to be charged by the police with the 1978 murder of 13-year-old Devon paper girl Jeanette Tate. His ashes were dispersed at sea, and no one came to his cremation in Belfast after his death. John Taylor, a child killer, is presently serving a 30-year sentence for the violent murder of Leeds resident Leanne Tiernan, 16, in 2000. Before disposing of her body in a forest, it is believed that he kept it in a freezer for 9 months. Detectives, however, think that up to 5 further young girl fatalities may be connected to the former delivery man who exudes evil. The judge told Taylor, who faces the death penalty for a series of horrifying sexual assaults, "You carried out a 20-year campaign of rape and assaults fueled by sadistic desire to inflict pain for sexual gratification." It wasn't until 16 crimes, 3 of which involved rape, against 5 victims between 1977 and 1996, that Taylor was identified, thanks to developments in DNA testing. After reviewing his case in December 2006, Justice Openshaw established a 30-year minimum sentence as a prerequisite for the killer's consideration of parole. Let's count down. At number 1 on our list is Lucy Letby. Number 2 is Beverly Allett. Number 3 is Myra Hindley. Number 4 is Robert Black. And number 5 is John Taylor. And that brings us to the end of the countdown, brought to you by Horror Crime Stories. Please support our channel, like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification stories to know when we post new stories and events that occur. Thank you for always stopping by. Remember, be vigilant and stay out of crime.